All right. So, welcome to the Black Script Storytellers. My name is Kevin Marable, and today we have an amazing guest with us. We have the talented Vion Selman,
How
straight
you
from
doing?
Atlanta. How you doing, Vion?
How you doing? How you doing? What's going on, Kev?
Good, man. Can't complain. Can't complain. How's things going for you?
Uh, 2024. We already started rocking and rolling. It's booking season now, so
It's booking season.
I'm waiting to see what else is in store.
Yeah, no, that is for sure. And I'm sure you got plenty that you have planned out for the year, mapped out for the year, and we're going to get into that and talk a little bit about what you've been up to. But first and foremost, I'd like to start off with a question that is a very simple question, but at times it can be difficult to answer. So, are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
The question is, who is Vion Selman?
Oh man, you have me nervous. Oh, Deion Selman, man, who is he? He's a Detroit native originally. Um, Born back in 1991. Good kid. Grew up single parent household. Um, Went to the military. Um, had a few experiences with life, and then made some life changes, and
Mhm.
where we're at right now. Um, Let me see. I've always been creative, always into art, always never really into theatrical. I look back now to when I was a child, and I actually used to model when I was about 7 years of age.
Mm.
Went away from it as a kid, going through with sports, school, and just growing up. And then came back around to it in my adulthood in a kind of like crazy situation.
Okay. Okay. And so, at what point would you say that you landed into acting?
Mm. Let me see. I started modeling back in 2015. I know I spoke on it real quick. I used to be in the military.
Okay.
Served my country proudly for 5 years. Had a 6 year term. I was still young at the time. I did have a decision that I wasn't too happy that I made. But through life, we go through different experiences, whether they're losses or they're wins. So I had
Mhm.
to learn from this experience. So unfortunately, I did end my military career unwillingly, but it opened up a new path for something bigger and something greater. So I'm grateful and I thank the one above, the creator, for that most definitely because it was like light bulb.
Right. Absolutely. And, I'll also still tell you thank you for your service,
I appreciate
because
that.
you did serve the country, and that will not go, unrecognized. Um, so, yeah, thank you for your
I
service, man.
appreciate that. Appreciate that.
I come
So
from a military. I come from a military background as well, so I want to
okay,
make sure that I didn't serve, but my parents did. So
okay.
I
You have
understand.
you have an understanding of because it's not easy. It's not easy by no
Right.
means.
Right.
But gratefully, after that whole little hitch, um, it's crazy. I started modeling because at that time I was incarcerated. And one of the guys who I was in there with made a joke and said, "Hey, Vion, you're on TV." So it was kind of like that light bulb, that recollection of what is Vion Selman to do once he's past this point, because all he knows is this point and everything before then.
Mm.
But just so happens there was a news article that came on TV. I was in San Diego at the time, and it was the one and only Jeremy Meeks. A lot of you may remember him. He's the convict model who mugshot went viral.
Yes.
Um, Gratefully, I was in the position I was in to actually see that because I was contemplating, like, okay, how do I get back into everyday life? And I was like, okay, let me try this. If he gets fame off of a mugshot, what's to stop me from doing it by stumping the pavement? Because I'm no stranger to hard work. Like I said, my mom was a single parent household.
Hmm.
I didn't want to have my mom to reach back and try to go and get brand new things for me, whether it was shoes, etc. I wanted to do it myself just to give her a little leeway. because I know she had 6 children, so I know it would have been a burden. At least that's how I felt. So I jumped into the acting world in 2015. I came home. I actually did my sentencing and was released early due to reintegration back into society, good behavior, along with everything that comes with that, like having a job and etc. while you're in.
Right.
So thankfully, I only served 9 months, and the rest was probation for 6 months. So I took it on back home to Detroit, Michigan, and that's where I started my newfound career of modeling. I actually contacted a cousin of mine who used to model back in her earlier years, and she had a great career throughout the Detroit market. And she was able to put me in contact with a Detroit editor who later on became my manager. And he was able to show me the ins and outs of the complete industry, whether it's from good mannerisms to how, if you go to a charity event, how a table is supposed to be placed, how do you act when you meet certain people, like the whole ordeal. So I basically had a cheat code right there.
Yeah, that's interesting, man.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you kind of spoke on some of your past history. We all have our own past. We've all gone through things. We've all made um, whether it be a bad decision or a wrong choice. But that's how we grow. It's all
Right.
a part of life, and it's all a part of um, you know navigating our path and our journey to get to where we are today, and
Definitely agree.
yeah, and where we're headed to tomorrow. Um, so with that being said, I know you spoke on your modeling, but now you're transitioning. Well, you're still modeling,
Yes,
obviously,
I still do that, definitely.
but you're going to be transitioning into acting. You're getting into acting, and you're starting to take on roles and do more acting, and kind of break your way into the acting space. So what have you done? Or I guess at what point did you transition from modeling into acting, or decide, what, I'm going to try my hand at acting on top of modeling?
So in about probably a year time frame after I had got my manager and everything, I broke off individually and then progressed myself to the Chicago market.
Mhm.
Detroit's cool, great market. It's a lot of work there. It's more in quantity over quality, basically.
Mhm.
So I wanted more Hollywood, more live stream of the industry.
Mhm.
So I went to Chicago. I ended up getting denied by Wilhelmina, by Ford, by Lilly's, by Next, by Red, so many different agencies where I'm trying to see if we can work together. Denials. Most of the denials were just because simply my tattoos. I have like 22 tattoos now.
Oh,
And
yeah.
back then, they weren't as recognizable as they are now today.
Right.
So that was a lot of hindrance for me as far as getting signed to a major agency.
Yeah.
So me being a Detroit kid, I had to think outside the box. So I went to an agency that was called BMG. Um, every agency that I went to that denied me loved the look, loved the facial features,
Hmm.
but it was always the tattoo. So I'm like, okay, let me change the playing game a little bit. Let me go into BMG. I'm going to wear a long sleeve shirt. They're going to sign me, and we're going to just go from there.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. I went in. They loved the look. I had the long sleeve shirt on. Took a couple pictures. They signed me right there. Two
Wow.
weeks later, I had to come back for digitals. Digitals is basically not a naked picture, but a bare minimum picture, so they can see what you look like with different costumes or wardrobe on.
Right.
So come digitals, they whoa, where all these tattoos come from? I mean, hey, I can't do nothing now about it. We already signed the paperwork, so they had no choice but to take that chance on me. And gratefully they did because we have been working since 2016 till now as far as booking jobs.
Oh,
So
wow.
where the acting tied into it, because most talent agencies, some are just for models and some have multi-talent. There's so many sides to the industry. There's voiceover, there's
Yeah.
hand modeling, there's print, commercial, editorial. runway. So there's so many aspects. Just so happened, the one agency that I did pick was multifaceted.
Hmm.
So it allowed me to tap in and start to hone that craft of the acting. As far as when I really got serious about acting was a little bit before then when I was still in Detroit.
Hmm.
There was a casting director. Her name is Claire Simon. She cast over Chicago PD. She cast over Empire, Chicago Med, anything with Dick Wolf. Pretty much, she's casting for. She came down there. I never had any experience, no acting classes, anything like that. I had a monologue I studied. Really didn't study it, but hey, this is the time I got to perform. So I tried to go through it. She said, "Okay, stop. I'm gonna tell you what. I love his look, but he's definitely green behind the ears." And
Hmm.
just hearing that, I said, okay, nope, I got to get my stuff together. I got to get in class. I got to really hone in on what it takes to be an actor in the industry.
Right.
And that's where I started from that point. And that's when I got into acting school. I ended up seeing Claire Simon later in Chicago, actually, for an Empire audition.
Oh, wow.
And when I did the audition, I knew I had her because all I could see was her in the back of the room. There's other people in the room. There's me, the reader, and a couple of her representatives. And
Hmm.
all I see was that smile while she's looking down at a piece of paper. That I knew I got her. I got her. And then from there, it was like, okay, so now you have done a good performance enough where I can push you further. So now we're going to go into a director session.
Hmm.
Crazy thing is, Jesse Smollett, before he had his ordeal,
Right.
he was the director of this particular episode.
Oh, wow.
Came back in the next day, hit my audition exactly like I did it for Claire Simon. He looks at the screen, looks at me, looks at the screen, looks at me. He says, "Listen, right now, I'm going to tell you, you're not going to get this role." Crush me, like crush me. I thought I killed it. And then later on, he says, "It's not because you didn't do a phenomenal job, because you did. It's just you look too much like Terrence Howard." Now, if you would have had casted or auditioned for the role for the third brother about 3 weeks ago, you were definitely assuring to get that role. So that's when I learned about it's a lot of things, especially opinionated, that takes
Yes.
place in the casting. Because it
Yeah.
might not be necessarily that your talent wasn't good enough. They already have a look already embedded in their head as far as what they see who fits this role.
Yeah, absolutely. And it has a lot to do with what makes sense, for each character, and how is this going to play out on camera. So what they were doing is they were probably looking at, on top of your looks, they're also probably looking at the chemistry, um,
Correct.
and how all of this was supposed to make sense and be cohesive for the show. And even though he said that you're not going to get this role, and it crushed you in that moment, didn't necessarily mean that you weren't good for that role.
Oh
You,
no, Kev, that was a W. That was a
yeah,
W.
yeah,
Like just getting the opportunity for the audition is a win.
yeah,
And
absolutely. And not only that, I forgot the lady's name that you mentioned, that you auditioned for, and she
Claire
stopped.
Simon,
Claire Simon. Um, just the fact that she told you to stop right there, um, and she said that you weren't going to work, but the fact that she listened, she took notice to your looks and to your appearance and everything. If you had you gotten the lines down better, you might have had a better audition at that point. And then from there, once you you know audition for the role for Empire, like Jesse Smollett said, if you had come in a few weeks earlier
right? It's
for
it's all about it's about timing, definitely.
yeah.
Because
Um, oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say like you said, just because even if I did do good in that initial audition when I first met her, still doesn't mean I'm gonna get the role.
Right.
But now I'm an impression on her brain, so now she'll
Yes.
remember me every time I see her. So
Yes.
it, it, it's
Absolutely.
the it's the baby steps. A lot of people forget about the baby steps just because sometimes they're so small. We're so looking at the overall big pictures. But those little steps, those little bit of accomplishments, man, they mean the world built up together.
Oh yeah, it's it's just letting you know that you're getting closer. And
Definitely.
with more work, more dedication and effort, you will get there. And where that there is, you might not know in the moment, but you know that you now have people watching. You now have people who have you on their mind, and they're just looking for the right role to place you. So
Definitely.
that's basically where you were at in that time frame. But since then, what have you been able to accomplish acting wise?
Well, since that little incident, meeting Claire Simon the second time, from there, I booked commercials. We had, there's a company, there's many, many companies. So even though people don't see all of these commercials, everybody has advertisement and marketing. But there's companies like Lando Frost, which is a deli meat company. I did a commercial for them. I did a commercial for the Boys and Girls Club of Chicago. I've done ads with McDonald's. I've done work for Foot Locker. I've had a whole campaign ran over Chicago, still there today,
Yeah.
for a rooftop bar at the Renaissance Hotel. It's called Ray's Bar. Like there's still platforms and billboards of my face all through Chicago.
Wow.
From there, as far as acting wise, man, a lot. I'm blessed. That's all I can say. I'm blessed. Um, 2019 came, and I was able to book my first network series. It was
Okay.
just a co-star, but it was still on a series. It was on the show called South Side on HBO Max.
Yes. Yes.
Unfortunately, they did get canceled. I love working with Zuri, Bashir, Simon. Great people. We had a lot of great conversations, a lot of enjoyment of each other on set, and just experience each other's craft. After that, I end up coming down to the Atlanta market and trying to hit home runs at the home runs. I
Mm.
just completed my third lead role on a feature film. It will be, all of these will be on Tubi. There's one out on Tubi right now called Miami Confidential.
Yes.
The next one, probably, I recommend they're going to probably push it out next Christmas, probably because it is a Christmas themed movie. It's
Okay.
called My Christmas Threesome. I was able to, it's a little twist in there too. I was
Yeah.
able to work with the infamous Rodney Perry, so that was a great guy to meet.
Okay.
Miami Confidential actually worked with Claudia Jordan,
Yeah.
and then the Holiday Inn is pretty much, it's a smaller cast,
Mhm.
but more focal on the journeyman that's coming up in the industry.
Okay. Okay. So for now, you have three feature films under your belt. You've done a slew of commercials, and of course, you're still modeling. Um, as far as those features, you said that you played a lead
Yes, sir.
in Miami Confidential.
Yes.
Like, can you actually explain to me what Miami Confidential is about and who your character was and what your role was in the film?
Miami Confidential is a crime thriller.
Mm.
So if you like the game Clue,
Yeah.
it's like a who done it type movie. Um, I actually played the villain, one of them. So there's still a twist. So if you guys haven't watched it, go watch it on Tubi. It's out there streaming now. Um, but I did play one of the villains. What was the other question?
And so basically, just speak to your character, like the role that you played. What was your character name?
My character name was Cameron, and Cameron Ross. I was a model agency owner, ironic, um, who had a side business.
Uh-huh.
And my side business might not have been the best idea of a side business, but to me, it was making money and it was making the team money. So as we're getting richer and richer, we only want more, so we're trying not to stop. But it did involve me when I was trafficking my models.
Mm. Mm.
and that's what it entails. I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah, don't give the story away, but still, I like to give a little bit of information to to draw people in to want to watch the film and to want to see what your role was all about and who you are in the film. Um,
All I know is like anyone who knows me personally or has the pleasure to meet me, they say, "Hey, I do not like you in this film." So I'm like, "Okay, I did my job."
right, absolutely, as you should, because if you're playing the villain, you're supposed to come across as a
Right.
villain. Yeah. And in the other two films, they are not out yet, correct?
They are
So
not.
okay,
My
so we won't necessarily speak to what the storyline is about, but can you?
I give you the genre. My Christmas threesome is going to be a romantic comedy,
Mhm.
and then the Holiday Inn is going to be more of a romantic drama.
Okay.
The Holiday Inn is about a man and wife
Mhm.
uh, who the man changes for his wife, and he doesn't feel like there's any problems in the relationship, but the woman, she doesn't like the way that he changed, even though she asked for these changes. So
Uh,
she's starting to question her relationship and the marriage. Is it really what she wanted?
right.
And later on, of course, it's about trying to get rekindled.
Mhm.
And as far as my Christmas threesome, like I said, it's a romantic comedy. It's about I am a social media influencer
Mhm.
who rates products online, and I get everything I want already just because I'm successful. So I have a friend who's trying to give me something that I never had before. So she recommends the threesome idea, and now she has to be the one to put all of this preparation into giving it to me.
Yeah, man, that sounds
Yeah,
that,
it's going. I'm waiting on it to drop. I can't wait. It's going to be a good one.
yeah, dope, man. That's dope. So within the realm of what you've been able to accomplish thus far, what would you say has been the most challenging thing that you've experienced when it comes to acting and then also auditioning?
Well, I'm getting more as you do this every day and every day. You get more used to it. I don't think no anyone is ever fully used to rejection because
Right.
you feel like you did your absolute best on it and you haven't heard anything back. Like, what's wrong with them? Why didn't they hire me? So
Yeah.
those notions start to get in your head and everything like that. So that's probably the biggest battle to me
Hmm.
in the acting realm. The most successful or the most takeaway I can have from it is really create the backstory of the character. That's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
You got to know where this character came from. You can't just look at this paper just because it's written down. He has to have, or she has to have, some type of backstory of how they got to the point they at.
Mm. Okay. I like that answer because some people read the lines and just kind of take it as at face value and won't really put enough personality or character into it, and just it's almost as if they're reading or they're a robot, and you have to give that
Definitely,
emotion. Yeah, you have to give that emotion, that feeling, and draw that out of you. Um,
definitely.
yeah, to the
I like
best of
the passion.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, what are you doing to gain more visibility as an actor, or as an actor, an aspiring actor that's trying to land more roles? What would you say that you might be doing to gain more of that visibility?
I talked to Corey Holcomb before, and he
Oh,
told
wow.
me, along with other people, they told me, there is no actual blueprint to this industry. All you can do is plan it out the best way possible according to you and your morals, of course.
Mhm.
And I feel like that has helped drastically um, with networking, and that's very, very key. Your network is your net worth, so it's not mainly about who you know, because if they don't know you too, you kind of didn't build anything there. So
Right.
find some type of way to be personable and create that relationship.
Mhm.
Let me see what else has been helpful. Networking. Very, very key. Studying the craft, actually getting into classes, because this is a continuous learning industry. I can learn from someone who's a 5-year-old actor, or if he's an 80-year-old actor. It's
Right.
never ending. So those are the biggest takeaways I would say that has helped me thus far in the industry. And with networking comes through looking up events online, whether it's different screenings, go to these film festivals, Sundance, Bronze Lens, ABFF,
Yes.
as well as even the little social functions. There's always opportunity there. You always meet someone new.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, as far as your acting, you said you're taking acting classes or you've taken acting classes. Um, what would you say that you needed to work on most when it came to developing your craft in acting? A lot of times we focus on our strengths, but what would you say that you needed to focus on that might have been a weakness of yours that you had to build up and get stronger?
I would say improvisation.
Okay.
Improv, definitely. Understanding what improv is and how to use that tool when you are acting, I feel like it's vital. And that's how you relate back and forth between character and your actual true self by improvisation. Whether it's a hand gesture that you normally do, that you can now throw this into the character's description, and now this character can do this while still being that character, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because improvisation is nothing but yes and. It's never ending on a bad note. It's always yes and I can do this
Mhm.
just to keep the story flowing. That's the point.
Moving forward, what are the kinds of roles that you would like to seek out, or what are the kinds of roles that um, would fit Vion Selman?
I want it all. I want it all. I want a horror film. I want more drama. I want love. I want even comedy. Comedy is probably my least because I'm not actively trying to be a comedian. I feel
Mm,
like I have funny moments at times, so
right.
I'll play in there in and out of the comedy realm. But
Mm.
action, definitely. I definitely see myself with Marvel or DC, speaking and putting it up in existence.
Yes, definitely.
So definitely.
Okay. And just to stay there real quick with the whole Marvel
Green
in
Lantern.
Green Lantern. Okay,
Green Lantern. Look, that's what I want to play. I want to play Green Lantern.
that would be dope, man. That would be dope. We need to bring Green Lantern back. Let me ask you this: being that you
Even
come,
though that's DC, but yeah.
what's that?
No, I was saying Green Lantern. He's DC, but it's yeah, superhero.
Exactly. Um, being that you come from the modeling world,
Hmm.
um, and I'm sure this also happens in acting. Your appearance can oftentimes be the first. Sometimes it could be the thing that gets you through the door, and then sometimes it can be the first thing. It's obviously the first thing that people see before you open your
Right.
mouth. Um, but you stay really physically fit,
Yeah.
um, and you would fit that superhero physique and that superhero look. Um, I guess what my question would be is, do you feel like a large part of you landing some of your roles might come based off of your appearance rather than your skill?
50% of it, and it's a harsh reality, but 50% of this is about look. Yes, looks will definitely get a crack in the door, get your foot in there. Definitely, that talent and then the personality, that plays a huge aspect as well. Because if I can have a liking to you, but if I don't have a liking to you,
Mhm.
especially like let's say we're doing an interview, and I can sense the negative energy coming off of you because you're mad about something that happened early that morning. I'm not going to want to work with this guy. So
Right.
those little things, those minuscule things, they matter. But looks wise, keeping your body in shape, that's like this is the brand. This is my brand. It's called You versus Self. I don't know if it has the self written the correct way or the you wrong, but it's meant like that for a purpose. So
Yeah.
when you do wear the product, If you actually, it says at the bottom, just go look in the mirror. So
Mm,
as you take yourself physically to that bathroom or to that hallway mirror, and you look at yourself wearing this while you're embodying it, you're doing that same motion. You are your only competition. Just look in the mirror.
yeah, I love that, man. And you are your only competition. A lot of
Yes,
times, we are in our heads about a lot of things.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah, we just have to just be a little more confident, a little bit more sure of ourselves, and know that we wouldn't otherwise be here in this audition, or we wouldn't be here in this room talking to these people if we did not deserve to be here, if we did not get
Right.
that initial call, that call back, to show up
Right.
and to present
And
ourselves.
a lot of that's just human nature. I mean, I go back to it sometimes, but I have to take myself back out of that picture.
Mm,
Um, it's just everyone has so much going on, so it's hard. I understand it, but
yeah.
if you can stay grounded and keep that open mind, you'll get a better understanding.
You spoke of it earlier, and I'm not sure if it's something that you are even interested in. And I haven't really touched on it with a lot of actors that I've talked to, but I feel like you have a good voice for it.
Uh,
Would you ever consider voice acting?
Voice, I have done voiceover. I actually had a commercial with the company He Gets Us. I actually just me and the team we just put something out today, recapping that whole job opportunity. It's called He Gets Us, and their Christianity group, and I had to do voiceover for their message. So it's like a voiceover mixed with a still commercial. So it's like all three in one.
Okay,
But I had to do a voiceover, then I had to do basically like a photo shoot, and that was pretty much. And then they tied it all together.
right.
So if anyone wants to see it, just go to my Instagram. It's VEONSELMAN, and it's right there. All my work, plain in sight.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I did check out your social media. I saw a lot of those things on Instagram for sure. What roles do you think line up with you and play to your strengths?
The love interest. For some reason, that's what I've been getting so far. But I'm not mad at it. I understand it because as a leading male role,
Uh-huh.
it comes with it. Whether no matter the genre, whether it's action, horror, sci-fi, it comes with it. Usually in every story, there's some kind of love interest, love scene. So I understand it. I would say that has probably been my biggest strength,
Mhm.
um, and that's just I wasn't always like this. I had to grow into it because I grew after high school. That's when I became all this once I changed myself and went to the military. So I thank the military for that. So.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I'm sure a lot of those roles, like we were speaking about earlier, in some cases, appearance has a lot to do with it. Like I said, you're physically fit, and they could see that, with you walking through the door. I'm sure a lot of times they're like, "Ooh, I can imagine him in this particular scene," or
Right.
things of that nature. When you get those kinds of looks, does that make you feel uncomfortable?
Um.
Because I know how you appear to the outside,
right. Right.
but
I say it used to make me uncomfortable. I
okay,
had to become used to it.
yeah,
Just like as a kid, I would always get mad at my mom because she'll tell me, "Hey, what do you say? Say thank you, thank you." That's just because somebody. Oh, he's so cute. He's so adorable. So I had to get used to it. Um, Never. I don't think I never actually was actually like used to it, but I've gotten a lot better with it.
mhm, mhm, okay. Yeah, I often wondered, when you're dealing with people like, like the Morris Chestnuts, or like the Gary Dordan,
Hmm.
uh, and some of those actors where they get that all of the time, where they are always considered the heartthrob. Is that something that they willingly want, or is that the roles that they just gravitate towards because those are the roles that are presented to them?
I feel like it's the roles that I'm not gonna say it's necessarily what they want.
Mhm.
It's the opinion of the writer, the director, the casting. What do they see?
Right.
What
Yeah,
would the people enjoy?
exactly.
Yeah, because if it don't make money, it don't make sense, right?
Absolutely, man. You gotta get butts and seats for sure. Um, would you consider um outside of film, would you consider working on network television?
Outside of like TV shows.
Yes,
Oh,
TV shows, TV series. Um,
definitely.
okay,
I'm still waiting to hear back from a Netflix audition I did for. It's called the Basketball Unity. So we're
okay,
still fingers crossed.
right.
Um,
Cross, man.
Hopefully
No,
I get that role. Yeah, but definitely, series. I mean, that's every actor's dream. Whether it's big motion picture or if it's network series, it's becoming that series regular. At that point, it's pretty much your full time actor. Like you've made it. Getting up to that point, it's seasonal. It's part time.
hmm
So yeah, that's the goal. So yeah, definitely network all day.
okay. And just a small piece of advice. Well, it's not really advice, but a recommendation. I would probably refer you to a gentleman by the name of J. August Richards.
Okay.
He is a series regular. He's been a series regular on a slew of shows, and he also has a course called Being a Series Regular,
Okay.
where he actually talks about what it's like being a series regular and explains all of the ins and outs and some of the things you should look out for, and what you should do if you become a series regular, that type of thing. Uh,
Gotcha.
so yeah, if you're ever interested, J. August Richards, being a series regular, um, I'm sure that he could give you plenty of insight as to how to better yourself to get to that level if that's what
Definitely, definitely, definitely. Because yeah, I'm right there at the next step.
you. Mhm.
Because I'm actually getting ready to sign with the after SAG. They haven't yet counted up my SAG jobs.
Okay.
But that's another part I would say is pretty hard with the industry is accumulating enough SAG jobs to become a part of the union. Now, for people who don't know, as an actor, you need to accumulate 3 SAG jobs to be able to sign in the SAG union. Some
Okay.
people say, "Oh, don't sign right when you get the 3 SAG jobs because you want a hefty resume behind you to know that you are ready to go after the craft wholeheartedly," right? So finding those SAG interim agreements with different production, that would be the hardest part, I would say, about the industry because you might not have the idea of where to look for these SAG jobs. Every job that's independent doesn't have SAG attached to it. There's a lot more independent than SAG,
Yeah.
jobs. So
Mhm.
that has been a hard thing for me. I dealt with that, throughout my career.
Right. But you're working towards that.
Oh well, no, I'm just waiting for them to tell me to sign, but I'm
Okay.
gonna keep going until they tell me to sign.
Right. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
definitely.
Yeah. What is next for Vion Selman?
Ooh, next for Beyond Selman is an NDA. I cannot disclose. All I can say is this project that I am getting ready to embark on is going to be huge. It's going to be
Awesome.
huge.
Yeah, that's
And
dope.
it's going to be a lot more after that that's going to come even bigger. So just anyone who's watching me, keep track, stay tapped in. I'm posting stuff. My team is posting stuff. So
Mhm.
just stay locked with me, man. But we gonna make some magic. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I know even though you're still embarking on your career as an actor, I'm sure you're going to get a lot more work now that everything is opened up after this writer strike, after that the actor strike, and yeah, there's a lot of opportunities out there, and there's a lot more opportunities that'll be coming down the pipe. So I'm sure this year is going to be a big year for you, and you're going to stay pretty busy because I'm sure they have a backlog.
Look, I'm sure they backed up a little bit. I promise you that.
Yeah. So they're going to be actively looking for actors, new, fresh faces,
That's
people that they can put in these shows and actually turn into stars, and and create hit shows around. So I wouldn't be surprised if you land somewhere in there. But if my personal opinion, on top of doing your regular acting, I would also, you have that strong, deep voice. I would definitely look into doing a lot more.
oh, with
Um,
the voice acting,
yes,
definitely.
because you can make a
Well,
you can make a hefty career,
I
just doing that,
trust,
and being off camera as well, or in
trust,
between jobs, and do a lot of animation, do a lot of commercials, do a lot of voiceover, radio, all types of avenues for that.
and I thank you for that. Just bringing it back to the front for my mind, as far as voiceover, but it's definitely in the plan, definitely. Because what does the guy say? I forgot his name. It's on the tip of my tongue. But as Allstate stands, you're in
Oh
great
yeah,
hands. You,
yeah,
I done heard plenty of times. Hey, you sound just like. Oh, okay. Let's go.
right. And you're not really even trying to like project your voice, and it still comes across strong like that. And so I definitely would say that you would definitely be a good candidate for
I
voiceover.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
Um, and I also wanted to say that here, so anybody who's watching,
He
if you,
said it first. Look, he said it
yes,
first.
if you're looking for voice talent, Vion Selman is ready and
Look,
available.
let's go.
But yeah, outside of that, I like to give my guest a final word, whether that's a piece of advice that was given to them, a quote they'd like to live by, or words of encouragement that they would like to give to the audience.
Man, come on, Kev. I'm a motivationalist. That's not a
Yeah,
word, but I'm a motivationalist, and I got a lot of those.
go for it, man. Go for it.
All right. GG. That's growth in God. First and foremost. One day or day one.
Mhm.
Consistency and discipline. Do not stop. You versus self. Just look in the mirror. You are your only competition. Stay blessed.
Yeah, man. Stay blessed, man. Stay blessed. I love it. I liked all of those actually. But yeah, Vion, I thank you for joining. I thank you for taking the time out and speaking with me, and give me a little bit of insight as to your journey. And even though your journey is just beginning, like I said, a couple times during this, I really do feel like you have a strong and bright future ahead of you.
Thank you, Kev.
And I will be rooting you on from the sideline. As more opportunities come your way, I would love to have you back on the show.
Oh, we locked in. I'm gonna be back.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about it. And yeah, let's let's get this ball rolling of trying to get your name and your face out there a lot more.
There we go.
All right, so everybody, Vion Selman.
Appreciate y'all. Follow me, VeonSelman, all together, one word on Instagram.